For millennia, humanity lived by the rhythm of the seasons, a dance dictated by the sun's journey and the earth's tilt. Our lives were intimately intertwined with the natural world, our days marked by the changing colors of the landscape and the predictable patterns of growth and decay. Spring, a time of rebirth and renewal, when life bursts forth from the slumber of winter. Summer, a season of abundance and warmth, when the fields ripen and the days stretch long and lazy. Autumn, a time of harvest and reflection, as nature prepares for its long winter sleep, painting the world in hues of gold and red. Winter, a period of rest and introspection, a time to gather strength for the coming spring, as the world is blanketed in a serene layer of white. These cycles dictated when we planted, guided by the knowledge passed down through generations, a deep understanding of the land and its rhythms, harvested, celebrating the bounty of the earth and giving thanks for the sustenance it provided, and rested, honoring the natural ebb and flow of energy, allowing the land and ourselves to regenerate. But now, our actions have forced two new seasons onto the global calendar, seasons born not of natural processes but of human impact. Haze season, a suffocating blanket that descends upon cities and landscapes alike. And trash season, a relentless tide of plastic and waste that chokes our oceans and pollutes our shores. These are not natural. They are not part of the Earth's inherent cycle. They're the result of pollution, the unchecked release of harmful substances into our air and water. Deforestation, the destruction of vital ecosystems that help regulate our climate and purify our air. And waste, the mountains of discarded materials that overwhelm our planet's capacity to absorb them. Haze season brings toxic air from burning forests and industry, a choking smog that hangs heavy in the atmosphere, choking cities for months, forcing people to retreat indoors and wear masks to protect themselves from the harmful particles. Trash season delivers waves of plastic to coastlines, a constant reminder of our throwaway culture and its devastating impact on marine life. Predictable as any monsoon, these seasons arrive with an almost grim inevitability, a testament to the scale of the environmental crisis we face. These seasons are the signature of the Anthropocene, the age in which human activity has become the dominant influence on the Earth's climate and environment. Proof that our impact is now inescapable, a stark warning that we must change our ways if we are to preserve the planet for future generations. We don't celebrate their arrival. There are no festivals or holidays to mark these unwelcome additions to our calendar. We brace for them with masks, shielding ourselves from the toxic air and polluted environments, and cleanups, organizing community efforts to remove the mountains of trash that accumulate on our beaches and in our waterways. They disrupt economies, impacting industries and livelihoods across the globe, threaten health, leading to respiratory illnesses and other health problems, particularly for vulnerable populations, and connect distant communities in shared crisis, highlighting the interconnectedness of our world and the need for global cooperation. The world's pulse is changing. The rhythm of the seasons is being disrupted by our actions. These new seasons are a warning, a clear signal that we are pushing the planet beyond its limits. We must decide. The future of our planet hangs in the balance. Will we let these seasons become permanent, a lasting legacy of our unsustainable practices, a dystopian future for generations to come? Or will we act to reclaim our calendar? Will we choose a path of sustainability, healing, and respect for the natural world, ensuring a healthy planet for all? Each year, as the dry season descends upon Southeast Asia, a familiar and unwelcome guest arrives, the haze. It's a period of heightened air pollution that blankets the region, casting a pall over daily life and raising serious concerns about public health and environmental well-being. This isn't a natural phenomenon, but a man-made crisis, fueled by human actions and choices. It's a stark reminder of the impact our activities can have on the environment and the air we breathe. The primary culprit? Vast agricultural fires in Indonesia, deliberately set to clear land quickly and cheaply. These fires rage across the landscape, releasing massive amounts of smoke and pollutants into the atmosphere. Often, these fires are set to clear land for palm oil plantations, driven by the global demand for this versatile commodity. The relentless pursuit of profit leads to widespread deforestation and environmental degradation. The resulting smoke doesn't stay confined within national borders. It sends toxic smoke across borders, impacting neighboring countries and creating a regional crisis. The air currents carry the pollution far and wide, affecting millions of people. The haze lingers for months, a persistent reminder of the environmental damage and the ongoing health risks. It disrupts daily life and casts a shadow over the region. The once blue skies turn a sickly orange, and breathing becomes a dangerous activity, forcing people to wear masks and limit their time outdoors. The air quality plummets, posing a serious threat to respiratory health. Air quality soars to hazardous levels, far exceeding safe limits and triggering health alerts across the region. The readings on air quality monitors paint a grim picture of the severity of the pollution. As a precaution, schools close, leaving classrooms empty and disrupting the education of countless children. Staying indoors becomes the only way to avoid the harmful effects of the haze. Flights are grounded, disrupting travel plans and impacting the tourism industry. The haze makes it impossible for planes to take off or land safely, and millions suffer from respiratory illnesses, eye irritations, and other health problems exacerbated by the toxic air. The haze takes a heavy toll on public health and well-being. The most vulnerable, children with their developing lungs, and the elderly with their weakened immune systems, pay the highest price, facing increased risks of respiratory infections and other serious health complications. This is not a natural disaster, an unavoidable act of nature, but the direct result of unsustainable farming practices, driven by short-term economic gains at the expense of long-term environmental health. It's fueled by global demand for cheap products, creating a system where environmental costs are often overlooked in the pursuit of profit. Despite government crackdowns and efforts to enforce environmental regulations, powerful economic incentives continue to drive deforestation and keep the fires burning, making it difficult to break the cycle. Haze season is a grim reminder, a visual representation of the environmental consequences of our choices. It underscores the fact that our consumption choices have global consequences, impacting not only the environment but also the health and well-being of people thousands of miles away. The cycle repeats year after year. The same pattern of burning, pollution, and suffering unfolds. Forests burn, releasing vast plumes of smoke that blanket the region, and the region suffers the consequences, enduring health crises, economic disruptions, and environmental damage. Until we fundamentally change how we produce and consume goods, prioritizing sustainability and environmental responsibility, haze season will inevitably return, casting its shadow over Southeast Asia once again. The air we share connects us all, reminding us that environmental problems transcend borders and require collective action. Haze season transforms daily life in profound and unsettling ways. The thick, suffocating smog that blankets the region isn't just an inconvenience. It's a pervasive force that reshapes routines, alters behaviors, and casts a long shadow over the well-being of entire communities. Windows stay shut, sealing homes and buildings in a desperate attempt to keep the toxic air at bay. The outside world, once inviting, becomes a source of anxiety and a place to be avoided. Parks empty, playgrounds deserted. The laughter of children is replaced by an eerie silence as families retreat indoors, sacrificing precious moments of outdoor recreation for the sake of their health. And masks become essential, a ubiquitous symbol of the haze's suffocating grip. They are a constant reminder of the compromised air we breathe, a barrier between our lungs and the polluted atmosphere. The air quality index dictates routines, governing decisions about work, school, and leisure. Every activity is weighed against the potential health risks as people meticulously track the ever-fluctuating levels of pollution. Outdoor life grinds to a halt. Sporting events are canceled, outdoor markets close down, and the vibrant energy of public spaces fades away, replaced by a sense of stagnation and confinement. The ecological toll is severe, extending far beyond the immediate impact on human health. The haze inflicts lasting damage on the natural world, disrupting delicate ecosystems and threatening biodiversity. Haze disrupts rainforests, stunts plant growth, and harms wildlife. The dense smoke reduces sunlight, hindering photosynthesis and weakening vegetation. Animals struggle to find food and navigate their surroundings, their habitats increasingly compromised. Orangutans and birds suffer respiratory distress, their delicate lungs struggling to cope with the polluted air. These iconic species, already facing numerous threats, are pushed further towards the brink. Entire ecosystems are thrown off balance as the haze disrupts food chains, alters migration patterns, and weakens the resilience of the natural world. The long-term consequences of this ecological damage are difficult to predict, but they are undoubtedly profound. Local communities at the fire's epicenter endure the worst, their lives and livelihoods directly threatened by the flames and the choking smoke. They are the first line of defense against the haze, bearing the brunt of its devastating impact. Sickened by smoke, their livelihoods in jeopardy, farmers watch helplessly as their crops wither and die, their fields blanketed in ash. The economic consequences are devastating, pushing families into poverty and despair. Farmers lose crops, their hard work and investment reduced to nothing by the relentless haze. The future becomes uncertain as they struggle to provide for their families and rebuild their lives. Families lose health, their children particularly vulnerable to the respiratory illnesses caused by the polluted air. Healthcare systems are strained, and the long-term health consequences remain a serious concern. And the poorest bear the heaviest burden, lacking the resources to protect themselves from the haze's harmful effects. They are trapped in a cycle of poverty and pollution, their health and well-being further compromised by environmental injustice. The psychological toll is real, manifesting as stress, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of unease. The constant exposure to polluted air and the disruption of daily life take a heavy toll on mental health. Anxiety, depression, and a sense of helplessness grow with each smoky season. The feeling of being trapped, of having no control over the air they breathe, can lead to feelings of despair and hopelessness. The sky, once a symbol of freedom, of boundless possibilities, and of the beauty of the natural world, becomes a ceiling of oppression, a constant reminder of the environmental crisis that engulfs their lives. The horizon disappears, and the world shrinks, confined by the suffocating haze. Haze season is more than pollution. It's a multifaceted crisis that touches every aspect of life, from health and economy to environment and mental well-being. It's a season that steals the sky and hope, leaving behind a trail of suffering and despair. The sun, once a source of warmth and energy, is obscured by the thick smog, casting a pall over the landscape. The trauma is annual, a recurring nightmare that demands urgent and sustained action, and the solutions must be global, requiring international cooperation and a commitment to addressing the root causes of the haze. We cannot adapt forever. The human body and spirit have their limits. We must act now to protect our health, our environment, and our future. On distant shores, trash season arrives, plastic tides driven by ocean currents and winds. Millions of tons of plastic dumped over decades now return to haunt us. Monsoons and storms push this debris onto beaches from Bali to the Caribbean. The waste is global. Bottles from one country, nets from another, proof of our interconnected crisis. Communities brace for the plastic tide, organizing cleanups that feel endless. Trash season devastates marine life, smothers reefs, and cripples tourism. Microplastics contaminate sand, water, and seafood, bringing the problem full circle. This is not just litter, it's a systemic failure. Trash season is now a fixture on the world's calendar. Trash season is a global pattern, not just a Bali problem. On the U.S. East Coast, storms and tides dump marine debris from Florida to Maine. California's winter rains flush city trash into the Pacific, creating a seasonal surge of pollution. The Caribbean faces waves of plastic-entangled seaweed, fouling beaches and harming economies. Ocean currents now move our garbage as predictably as they once moved nutrients. Cleanup efforts spike after storms, but the tide keeps coming. Trash season is a recurring crisis driven by our wasteful habits and the planet's natural systems. The regularity of these events has turned pollution into a seasonal disaster. Our oceans are saturated. Nature's cycles now deliver our waste back to us. Haze and trash seasons are just part of a larger disruption. Earth's natural rhythms are breaking down. Climate change is making the old calendar unstable. Extinct seasons, arrhythmic seasons, and syncopated seasons are emerging. Winters vanish, springs arrive early, and natural cycles fall out of sync. An extinct season is one that's disappeared, like snow-filled winters that are now rare. Arrhythmic seasons come too early or late, confusing plants and animals. Syncopated seasons create mismatches. Birds arrive after insects have hatched, breaking food chains. Haze and trash seasons add chaos, delaying blooms and smothering nesting grounds. Our artificial seasons are now interfering with nature's clock. The loss of winter is a profound change, cultural and ecological. Ski towns and winter festivals fade as snow becomes scarce. Resorts rely on artificial snow, but the season shrinks and costs soar. Crops like apples and cherries suffer as winters no longer provide needed chill. Melting snowpacks mean less water for cities and salmon. Elders recall frozen ponds and glaciers that have all but vanished. The extinction of winter is not a distant threat. It's happening now. Communities mourn the loss of traditions and livelihoods. The landscape and identity of entire regions are changing. The grief is real and the future uncertain. Some seasons don't vanish, they become erratic. Fall springs trick plants into blooming, only to be killed by late frosts. Pollinators and plants fall out of sync, threatening harvests and ecosystems. Caribou migrations miss the peak of plant growth, endangering calves and cultures. These mismatches ripple through food webs. Oak trees, caterpillars, birds, all thrown off. Rainy seasons become unpredictable, bringing floods and droughts in the same year. Nature's clock, once precise, is now broken by our disruptions. The result, a world out of tune, where chaos replaces harmony. These are not isolated incidents. They're the new normal. The symphony of nature is becoming a cacophony. Haze and trash seasons, ghost winters, and broken rhythms. This is our present, not a distant future. Every act of pollution and deforestation is a vote for this new dysfunctional calendar. The consequences are global and interconnected. No one is immune, but we can change course. Recognizing our shared responsibility is the first step. We must transition to clean energy, eliminate waste, restore forests, and demand accountability. Systemic change starts with individual choices, multiplied worldwide. The question is, do we accept a future of smoke and plastic or fight to restore nature's rhythms? The earth can heal, but only if we act. The calendar of consequences can become a calendar of hope if we choose it.